Hey, it's Dan. I'm here in the studio to share something really incredible and super cool with you. If you've never been a part of my author success community, then it's time for you to invest in yourself and join my author friends on an incredible journey. You can go to writingsuccess.mykajabi.com, and Kajabi is spelled Kajabi, and you can learn how authors just like you are changing their lives and gaining financial independence. Because if you're watching or listening to me right now, you're a writer looking to grow your business, right? This is the creator economy, and it's set up as never before to help author entrepreneurs grow their brand and audience. It's wonderful to be expressive and creative and joyful about our stories, but we're also trying to earn a living from our passion and set our own schedules. At writingsuccess.mykajabi.com, we're examining how the biggest author names in our industry build their careers. How do they grow an audience? What advertising platforms do they use? And how do they market their books? How can you make money from your success? And how does all of this actually work? Go to writingsuccess.mykajabi.com and I'll give you a free guide to get you started. Again, it's free. You need this information. I'll share how I forged my career in this modern economy. If you're an online entrepreneur, a fiction writer, an author educating others, you can't help people until they find your books. So go to writingsuccess.mykajabi.com. And again, Kajabi is spelled Kajabi for your free guide right now. Welcome to the Author's Mindset Podcast. I'm Dan Padavona, your partner on this amazing journey to becoming a successful author. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button so you receive all my tips and motivation. And while you're at it, head over to my website at writingsuccess.mykajabi.com. And Kajabi is spelled Kajabi. That's writingsuccess.mykajabi.com, and click on my blog for my latest tips and tricks and new techniques I'm using to advertise my author brand and generate higher earnings in my writing career. Well, Dan, where have you been? You've been away for a while, haven't you? Yes, I have been. It's been about a month almost since we last talked, and I am very sorry about that. If you think I've been lazy, though, no, I have not. I have been working for you. What do you mean you've been working for me? Have you been repairing my roof and replacing the shingles while I was gone? Or maybe you fixed that drafty window in the back of the house while we were out for dinner? No, not quite, but I have been paying attention to all of your posts on my podcast page, and I have been reading your emails and responding to them. If you sent me an email, thank you very much. And yes, I do appreciate your comments, and you know who you are because I replied to you. Since I started this podcast, so many of you have been asking me, when am I going to take all this information and put it into maybe a series of books, or put it into a course, or form a website with all of these tips on them? And the answer is, I am doing the latter two. In fact, I have completed all that work. And believe me, it was a lot of work over the last month, but I was just so determined. It went from being an idea to something which I just couldn't stop working on. I was so determined to see all of this to fruition. And I'm pleased to say that after a month of just grinding away day after day after day, I now have a website, which I mentioned at the onset here. which is completely devoted to your writing success. And I'll be posting blog information on that. You'll get new articles on a very regular basis. And again, it is at Writing Success, that's one word, .mykajabi.com. And Kajabi is spelled Kajabi. If you go there, click on the blog and you'll see all my latest articles that I'm working on. And I have also put together the first of what I hope to be many courses which will help you succeed as a writer. And the first, not surprising that I went down this path, but the first is on Amazon Ads. And that course is Amazon Ads for Authors. So no surprise that I went down this path, as I have always said that Amazon Ads have brought my author career not just to a new level, but I leveled up dozens and dozens of times through Amazon Ads. They have been so important for me in finding my readership, finding who I should target my books toward, and building an audience and building a lifestyle. You know, I'm retired now from my quote unquote adult job, and I am now writing full time, and I owe so much of it to Amazon Ads, also to Facebook ads, and I'll talk about those as well. But the first course which I completed is Amazon Ads for Authors, and I invite you to check it out. Again, it is at my website, but there is plenty of free information there as well in my articles, and I'm also offering a free guide with my 5 best tips for Amazon Ads in 2023. So request that guide, and I will get you started and on your way towards success. So that's enough for the commercial, right? That's what the commercial inserts are for, aren't they? So back to the Author's Mindset podcast and what we are talking about today. 5 ways to write with intention. You've probably heard plenty about living with intention, and on the Author's Mindset podcast, I do encourage you to live with intention. It is just so powerful, and it makes a humongous difference in your life, a positive difference in your life. But you can also apply the main benefits of living with intention to writing with intention. And we are going to talk about those 5 ways in this podcast. So the first thing that I encourage you to do is to mirror your writing growth with your personal growth. Form positive habits in both. So for instance, with your personal growth, perhaps you decide that you want to lose 10 pounds this year, or give up a bad habit like smoking, or cut down on drinking, or you just want to spend more time with your loved ones, with your family. You want to forge better relationships. All of those things are wonderful. You know, whatever is important to you, you should be doing that and living with intention. You can also write with intention. So forming positive habits with writing may be changing from I write every now and then when inspiration hits me, and I'm pumping out a book every now and then. You know, that I really can't keep up with pre-orders or anything like that, because I'm not that committed to writing every single day. So instead, you would form an intention to write on a daily basis or nearly everyday basis. I would encourage you to write at least 5 days a week. Maybe you're the type of person who likes to write but have the weekends off. Even for people who do wish to have the weekends off and normally have a Monday through Friday job, I would tell you to write all 7 days if you can, and at least 6 days if the seventh day isn't 100% possible. And the reason I say that is because you can form bad habits by getting away for just a few days. So if you could just keep the ball rolling, if you can start that habit and just start every day by saying, my intention is to write X amount of words today and create a story which my readers will love, and just sit down and do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't bang your head against the table waiting for inspiration to strike. And believe me, it never does when you want it to. Do as the great authors of our time do. As Stephen King, is not a believer in inspiration or waiting for inspiration to hit him, waiting for the muse to show up. No, he writes every day, and that is his business. He sees it as a business, and I do too, and I believe that you should as well. All right, so tip number 2 is to focus on your priority in life and only engage in activities which meet your core values. So, think about what your core values in life are, and then examine the things that you do on a daily basis and whether or not those activities correspond and meet those values. And if they don't, it's time to rethink whether or not you should be doing those activities. It's the same thing with writing. Writing is your business, and when you see it as that, it should be your business priority. And therefore, you should be setting blocks of time aside every day where you will do nothing but write. Whether that means you need to close the door and turn the lock to ensure that nobody bothers you, or if your family just knows, hey, when mom or dad are writing, we stay out of the room and we let them finish their activities. That's just what you need to do. It needs to be your priority. This is your number one way to drive readers to your books, is to simply publish more books. Every time you release a new book, it is an opportunity to rapidly grow your readership. So focus on that. What is your priority? Maybe your priority is marketing. Maybe you feel you need to market your name more, get your books out there in front of readers, and maybe your favorite type of marketing is advertising. So maybe that should be your priority. That's what you're working on. Either way, what is your core value? What do you need to be doing now to move with intention and move your career forward? Make that priority and focus on it every day. The next thing is to embrace volunteerism. And volunteerism is something which brings people so much joy. And, when you're doing it in your life, if you are helping out at a soup kitchen, or, you're just the type of person who, hands a $5 bill to somebody in need, whether you donate to, favorite charities, but, even more so, volunteerism, getting out and actually working on projects which help others is so important. So, what is your love? Do you love to help people? Do you love to help animals? Volunteer, get out and do it. And you'll find that it enriches your life so much. It just raises your vibrational energy to such a high degree and makes you feel better about yourself. And you will find you'll have so much more energy throughout the day to accomplish your tasks. It seems impossible, doesn't it? Because you're actually taking more time out of your day, and we all are pressed for time, right? But you'll find that you make so much more in the time which is allotted to you because your energy is so high and you feel so positive and so emotionally charged by your volunteerism. You can apply volunteerism to writing as well. Now, you may not be able to do it on such a grand scale, and maybe you can't, change somebody's life quite the way you can by volunteering to work with the homeless or something wonderful like that. But just posting in a writing forum. Maybe you are an accomplished writer, or you're an accomplished marketer or an accomplished advertiser. And if you aren't any of those things, maybe you are just a positive person, or you strive to be a positive person. So you show up on these forums and you push this positivity out to the world through your community of fellow writers. And maybe you work with somebody privately who needs help. You can help someone become a better marketer, a better writer, a better advertiser. Whatever you feel you can contribute to the community of writers, I encourage you so much to do so. That's why I started my website, which is just based on writing success. I do, of course, still have my author website, but this is a website which is just for helping other writers move forward in their lives, and I put a lot of work into it. So, when you can do something like that, even if it's just a blog post that teaches others a technique which you are an expert at, that other people need to learn. That is volunteerism. That is helping your writing community. Now, the fourth thing which I suggest is enjoying the process. And this just seems like a no-brainer and something I shouldn't even have to mention, right? But it is so important to be intentional about what we enjoy. So, taking the time on, every day to be thankful that we're alive, to be thankful about who we have in our life, our loved ones, about all the wonderful things that have happened for us. We too many times get stuck in the minutia and the negativity. We say things like, boy, people these days are, or kids these days are. And none of it is true, because we're just taking groups and we're bunching them all together when we know that, in our heart of hearts, we realize that it's untrue, that, all people of one group are not like. All times, all things which happen in this given time are not like. We just don't have, nothing but bad news and bad things happening to us. There are a lot of wonderful things that happen in the world, and a lot of wonderful things that happen on a daily basis. So, in terms of intentionality, when you enter a room to be with somebody who you care for, you can take a breath before you enter that room and just say to yourself, I am going to be present for this person. I am here to bring enjoyment to this person's life. I am going to be present and listen to everything that happened in their day. And I'm going to talk about the wonderful things that happened in my day too. And this is not something that came easy to me. It doesn't come easy to me even now. So anybody out there who thinks that, oh, Dan has it all together and Dan's just trying to get us to be superhuman like him, believe me, I grew up in a very negative environment. I don't blame my environment for anything that I went through in my life, because it's my responsibility as an adult to be the person that I want to be, to live my life with intentionality, and just bring joy to others. And I have to remind myself constantly when I'm going into a new situation to smile and just be happy. And you can do things on just a minor basis that you'd never think of. My favorite sport is lacrosse. So, a lot of people love football, baseball, whatever, all these great American-based games. I love lacrosse, and I have since I was a kid. It's such a beautiful sport, and it's so fast and exciting and hard hitting. I love everything about it. So I went back to see my alma mater play, and they were playing a team which is quite good. And fortunately for me, my team won, and I was standing next to a fan of the other team, I think a parent of one of the players throughout most of the game. And I we were both positive, not like yelling at the referees the way some fans do, or mocking the other players. We were both just cheering for our teams, which is a great way to enjoy sports and show your fanship. And as I was getting ready to leave after the game, and these folks were all driving back to Rochester, I just kind of looked at them and said, hey folks, please have a safe trip back to Rochester, okay? And I had even looked at the weather for them and confirmed that the weather was clear all the way from Cortland back to Rochester. And that I wasn't asking anybody to thank me for my kindness or anything. It made me feel so good to just kind of reach out to people I don't even know and say, you know what, take care of yourself. Have a great day. And that was something which I was extremely intentional about. As the seconds were ticking off the clock and I was getting ready to leave like I always do, instead of walking out and not forming any type of relationship with any of these strangers that I would probably never see again, I just turned and said something very nice to them. And it just charged me up in a way that I can't even explain. It was absolutely wonderful. And you can do this too. Be intentional about your writing. And, maybe you're having a successful career, or maybe you wish it would grow to a much larger profit than you're currently making. But you can still appreciate and still be intentional about appreciating what it is that you have now. Whether you are earning a living from writing like I am, or just making enough to buy a few cups of coffee per week. You can say to yourself every day, it doesn't even have to be right before you write, but I encourage you to do it right before you write, because that's a wonderful time to charge yourself up. Say this multiple times per day. Just, isn't it great? Isn't it great that I actually make money by entertaining people, by telling stories which I just get a kick out of, and by making other people happy? Isn't it great? I mean, how many other people can say that they do this? If you had a dime for every person who told you they were going to write a book and didn't follow through, I mean, you'd probably be a millionaire by now. I'm grouping people into. I told you not to group people, into one large. It's just not fair. But I do hear that a lot. I do hear a lot of people tell me that they're writing a book, and I can't count the amount of people who didn't. Who told me that they were going to, who didn't, and you and I are. We write real books, we publish them, and real readers read them. And every time these readers read these books, we get paid for it. That's really cool. So, remember that and be intentional about it. And the final thing that I want you to be intentional about is finding balance. So you want to find balance in your life, and you want to find balance in your writing life. If the teeter-totter is too heavy on one side, someone gets trapped at the bottom, and I don't want you to be that person who's always stuck at the bottom and, can't move. So find that balance. Finding balance in your life is, knowing what's important to you, but having enough room that you can breathe, that you can find different activities to enrich your life, that you can have different people in your life that bring you joy, that you're not always tied to your 9 to 5, or these days I guess it's more like 7 to 7. The way that companies expect people to work. It's just so unfortunate, and that again, it just makes me feel so happy and so fortunate that I can write for a living and set my own hours. So finding balance means that writing should be an important part of your life, but it shouldn't be your life. See what I mean there? If all you do is think about your next book, if all you do is work on that book, if all you do is think about how your sales are and how that advertising campaign is going, or how you need to market this next book, or what your fans are saying on Facebook or Twitter, you're not living your life in balance. Your writing life is weighing too heavily on your life. And you need to find that happy medium. Now, don't take that as an excuse that, oh, yeah, Dan just said I probably shouldn't be writing so much. No, you need to figure out for yourself how often you need to write to reach the goals which you have in your writing life. And then you need to form those habits and stick to the plan. If you get out of balance, however, and all you do is work on that plan, that's when you're going to run into trouble. So those are 5 ways to write with intention and bring intentionality into everything that you do in your writing life. If you enjoyed this episode, please do me a favor and go to Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to this podcast and give me a rating and review. Positive reviews help other authors or anyone engaged in self-development find this podcast. If you have an author friend who you think would love this episode, please share it with them. And remember to head over to writingsuccess.mykajabi.com. That's writingsuccess.mykajabi.com. And Kajabi is how you spell Kajabi. And check out my Writing Success blog. It is absolutely free. You can see what I'm working on now, what techniques I'm employing, and how I'm growing my author business. And if you like those tips, you can apply them to your own career. Remember, the seeds of happiness flourish when you shine a positive light. Make someone smile today, and remember to stay amazing. Thank you for growing with me on the Author's Mindset Podcast.